India's Olympic performance this time in Tokyo 2020 was by far the best in 4 decades. With 1 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze, we also saw some wonderful achievements and feats this time. India has finished at 44th position considering the gold medals tally. We saw the first woman Olympian winning Olympic medals twice, hockey teams pulling off wonders, and of course, new stars emerging at sports like discus throw, golf, and even fencing. But one question came to all our minds when we looked at the leaderboard. We saw India win just 7 medals, where China and USA won 88 and 113 medals respectively. Why does this happen to us every time? Why do we end up winning a few medals? What is the reason why India is lacking, and what can we do about it? Let's find out in this video, so stay tuned with me until the video ends. Ladies and gentlemen, let's simply understand that India is filled with manpower and there is no chance that Indian players or Indian people lack a skill set. The reasons here are way different. The first reason we could talk about is lack of infrastructure and funding. USA on one hand spends rupees 22 per sportsperson per day, whereas India spends 3 paise per sportsperson per day. It has been admitted before a parliamentary standing committee in 2016 that though India has a large population, its achievements in sport is not commensurate with its size. While a country like US has a medal for every 3 million citizens and UK has 1 per million citizens, India is almost at the bottom with 1 medal per 204 million people. The sports department has admitted that it suffers from lack of technology, state-of-the-art equipment, sports medicine, support, and so on. The committee has recommended that public sector units, including banks, should come forward to its help. If you have noticed, India has no participation in sports like softball, water polo, track cycling, luge, surfing, taekwondo, and so on and so forth. It's simply because we don't have infrastructure for a sportsperson to take part in it and practice in the first place. If you have noticed this is the first ever time we have seen participation in fencing as a sport. Mary Kom, an Olympian and a master boxer, was also a victim of this as she was shocked by the substandard food during the National Boxing Championships that she participated in. Deepa Karmakar demanded a physiotherapist before her performance in the Rio Olympics, but the Sports Authority of India denied it, saying it's a wasteful demand. We have reached the moon, we have created a nuclear arsenal, but we are least bothered about those boys and girls who are supposed to be our national pride. The second reason I'm going to talk to you about is our curriculum and education system. From our very childhood, we have heard this saying, "Kheloge kudoge to honge kharab, padhoge likhoge to banoge nawab." That's how much we give importance to sports as a part of our growing up and school education. Per week, we have 1 hour for sports in school, and even that is consumed by our maths teacher to finish his important syllabus that helps us find our x, the x in algebra in real life. Sports should not be considered as an extracurricular activity, rather it should be a part of our curriculum because it's actually good for a child's recreation and holistic development. It must be considered that India has a rich history of sports where sports like archery, kabaddi and even wrestling has been practiced since the Vedic times. Parents have to encourage their children when they express interest in some sports and probably allow them to even pursue their career than forcing them into fields like engineering, MBBS and now the most popular UPSC. While we had a lot of expectations from the National Education Policy 2020, but sadly it did not give much emphasis on sports, rather it shifted its focus on vocation because unemployment is actually the biggest problem of India today. Anyway, the next problem we are going to talk about is gender stereotypes. Yes, stereotype is a major issue where we are still of belief that sports and physical activity is not for women or girls, and hence we do not encourage our girl children to even pursue a career in the first place. Also, we have categorized certain sports for women and some for men. This has to stop. We need to see equal participation in sports for both men and women. This is not an Indian problem, but it is seen worldwide. Nearly 40% of women in sports industry face discrimination based on their gender. 84% of American athletes have witnessed or experienced homophobia or transphobia in sports. But in India, we also have issues even if our women sports persons wear short clothes. For example, Sania Mirza. Do you remember how a fatwa was issued against her because she was wearing a skirt while playing tennis? What was she supposed to wear, a ghagra? Next, we are going to talk about preference to one's sport. Now, it was a proud moment for India when the whole country abandoned the India versus England test match and was focusing their attention on the hockey teams, both men and women. Though cricket is not our national sport, and India has no national sport if you are aware of, we are only and only focused about cricket. It is the only sport we watch, and it is the only sport we enjoy watching. We treat its players like God, where other sports don't enjoy such privileges. We, as Indians, have to stop this. We have to give commercial interest to other sports, watch other teams like hockey and football play, and encourage these players. That's when the whole idea will change, and parents and people will encourage their children to participate and pursue their career even in other sports, because they will then believe that not just cricket but also other sport has a future. The next reason we are going to talk about is corruption and favoritism. Sports is a good arena where good amount of corruption and favoritism takes place. We have seen that the Commonwealth Games took place in India, and that turned out to be a Commonwealth scam under the UPA government, which shows how well we scam money in the name of sports. At the governance level, corruption, lack of transparency, and unclear separation of rights and responsibilities have created a bad environment. For example, in the year 2012, the Indian Olympic Association was suspended from the International Olympic Committee for electing members with pending criminal cases against them in the governing body. This forced the Indian athletes to compete in the Sochi Winter Games under the IOC banner, that is the banner of the International Olympic Committee, instead of the Indian banner. Every year, good amount of money is allocated under schemes like Khelo India and others, but that does not translate into Olympic champions in any manner. We have seen corruption take place in cricket in a very good form, where we have seen issues like booking and whatnot, and even IPL teams being suspended. We need IOC, BCCI and such bodies to be transparent in the selection process, and the coaches to be open-minded and get rid of their caste, creed, religion and sexual prejudices, and train the champions only for that medal. The next thing that I'm going to point out is the stability issues. This is something that makes me ponder. For Neeraj Chopra, cash prizes of over 10 crore rupees have been announced, and this is the scenario with almost all the athletes. But we have seen many athletes who have won medals previously but today are languishing in poverty. For example, Sita Sahu, who won in the 200 meter relay race and another in the 1600 meter race in the 2011 Athens Special Olympics. She is now a Golgappa seller. Anup Datta, a national kabaddi champion, sells vegetables today. Nori Mundu, who has represented the hockey national team 19 times, today works as a private school teacher. Nisha Dutt, who has won the Best Archers Award in Taiwan, participated in the Asian Grand Prix and won the Best Player Award in Sikkim, also bagged another silver in the South Asian Championship held at Jamshedpur in 2008, is currently unemployed. What happens to these athletes who won? Do they actually get the money that they are provided and announced? How do they sustain themselves once they win the medal? Does the government do something permanent for them? This is something that's not spoken about at all, and we are not aware about it. If you have any idea, do write to us in the comment section. The last issue I'm going to talk about is a lack of targeted approach in the country. See, when you talk about communist nations like China, Cuba and even North Korea, for them training Olympic champions and winning medals is a nation building activity. The communist government puts everything in it, so much so that the Human Rights Organization have called it the abuse of human rights, where children from a very young age are trained to become Olympic champions when they don't even know what it means to be that. China, once that person wins a medal, let me correct that, once a person wins a gold medal, because nothing below gold medal is considered a medal for them, China provides every single thing from job to sustenance to even practice. In India, we don't need anything of that sort. We just have to invest more and more money in a sports infrastructure and training. We have to streamline our sports administration and make sure it reaches the grassroots level and doesn't remain limited to pockets like Haryana and Mizoram. We have to make use of the population in an effective way to make sure we are choosing the right people in the right spirit. We give equal opportunities to all as well. Another important aspect is that we could also involve private sector in these activities. It will not just provide better things but also do a good marketing. If you have seen, this has been the example in the Indian Premier League, the Pro Kabaddi League and the Football Indian Super League. We have to make sure that important schemes like Khelo India, Target Olympic Podium, Fit India are all hitting the target and helping us churn out Olympic champions who are aware of what they are doing and how. Most importantly, we have to change our mindset towards sports, and probably this will also affect the overall scenario. Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you've enjoyed the content, press the like button, subscribe to NewsHamster, and don't forget to visit www.thenewshamster.com for regular updates, news and articles. Thank you so much for watching. Jai Hind.